By the end of this video, you're going to actually spot the rules that's been pushing you by the back of the neck. And you're going to feel the ego crack when you realize that it's been driving the car. Let's talk about the symptoms first and what it actually feels like. I think if you're watching this, then chances are you actually do know the feeling already. You're productive, but tense. You're informed, but heavy. You're improving, but not at peace. You wake up and your brain is literally already negotiating with reality. Check your phone like it's a vital sign monitor. You scroll for a minute and you wake up 40 minutes later, the same problem, wearing the same extra guilt. And the scary part is how normal it feels after a while. You've lived this way for long enough that it registers as personality. This isn't personality, and your symptoms are not random. They're outputs of rules. I want you to understand values, right? Your brain is trying to tell you what to do. Your brain isn't trying to ruin you. It's actually trying to keep you safe. If you feel anxious, there's usually a value underneath it. For example, safety or stability, belonging, competence, respect. If you feel angry, there's a value underneath it. Fairness, dignity, protection, justice. And if you feel restless and obsessed with improving, there's value underneath that. Things like mastery or meaning, contribution. And that's why attacking the feeling just never works. It's like screaming at a smoke alarm while the system is convinced that there's a fire. So we're not going to shame your reactions, right? We're here to understand what they're protecting. Find that your pain is often loyalty to a particular value. Let's talk about some of the tension. You're chasing relief and it just seems to keep slipping. I think here's the little contradiction. You keep chasing the thing that's supposed to make you feel better. And the better you get, the more pressure you feel. You get fitter and you become more afraid of losing it. You get more successful and you become more afraid of falling. You get attention and become more afraid of judgment. You get money and become more afraid of wasting it. Success doesn't automatically relax the nervous system. It often amplifies whatever rule is running. So if your rule is that I'm only safe when I'm ahead, then getting ahead just raises the bar. That's the fine print. The goal doesn't fix the rule. The goal magnifies the rule. Let's talk about the online world and why you can't stop watching answers. YouTube is the modern campfire. It's also the modern treadmill. A huge number of people are watching productivity videos in the way gamblers watch horse races. And not because they love spreadsheets, but because they're trying to escape a feeling. The feeling is usually one of these. I'm behind. I'm not enough. I'm wasting my life. I'm going to regret this. Other people have it all figured out. So you consume one more system, one more method, one more book, one more morning routine, one more dopamine detox. Look, and the strange thing is it helps, right? For about 12 minutes. And then you need another hit. And that's not because you're weak. It's because your brain learned that consumption creates temporary relief. Relief is reinforcing, and reinforcement creates repetition. So you're not addicted to videos. You're addicted to relief. Let's talk about survival beliefs. Now, here's the shift. Underneath these patterns are rules. Quiet ones. Rules like safety must be earned. Love must be earned. Respect must be earned. Mistakes are dangerous. Being ordinary is dangerous. And most people don't experience these as beliefs. They experience them as reality. And that's why calling them self-defeating is upfront feels insulting. It sounds like you're mocking the very thing keeping them afloat. So let's treat them with respect. These rules are survival software, and they were installed for a reason. Let's see this with an evolutionary lens, right? And why these rules exist. Like, if you want to understand a human, then start with the environment that we were built for. For most of history, being rejected wasn't awkward. It was actually dangerous. Belonging meant survival. Status meant protection. Competence meant resources. And being a burden meant risk. So the brain evolved to scan for social threat and to prevent exclusion. It became a prediction machine, and it learned fast. It created rules that worked. Don't get humiliated. Don't fall behind. Don't be useless. Don't make enemies. Don't relax too much. These weren't moral flaws. These were adaptive strategy. And the tragedy is that adaptive strategies can expire. A belief can be brilliant and still be bankrupt. So let's talk about the fine print and what they are costing you over time. Let's talk cost. Not philosophical cost, real cost. Like a rule like I must not disappoint, it buys reliability. It also sells your nervous system. A rule like I must stay in control buys your competence. It also destroys your spontaneity and sleep. And a rule like I must be impressive buys you drive, but it also makes you allergic to being human. And a rule like I must never be wrong buys you polish, but it also creates defensiveness, conflict, and procrastination. These rules pay you in the short term and then they collect interest. And the interest shows up as dread, irritability, scrolling, isolation, perfectionism, a weird emptiness after wins. So let's name a few beliefs cleanly. Now we can name them because you've already felt them. And these are classic survival beliefs. My worth depends on performance. If I'm criticized, then I'm unsafe. If I relax, I fall behind. If people see the real me, they'll reject me. Mistakes mean danger. These beliefs don't feel like beliefs. They feel like gravity, and your brain will defend them because letting them go feels like stepping off a cliff. That's ego death. The moment that you realize that the thing you call me is partly a rule running, it stings, but it also frees you. You might say, hold on, these beliefs built my life. They've made me productive. They've made me disciplined. They made me successful. Yes, often they did. And you're allowed to keep them. This isn't a moral argument. It's an investment decision. Like, keep the belief, just read the perspectives. Ask, what does it cost in energy? What does it cost in relationships? And what does it cost in peace? What does it cost in creativity? And what does it cost in health? Some beliefs are like caffeine. They're useful, powerful, not free. The goal isn't to become passive. The goal is to stop paying unnecessary interest. You keep the values, discipline, excellence, contribution, whilst removing the self-attack clause in the contract. Keep the value, delete the cruelty. Next, we'll talk about what do I do? Here's how you start. Simply, brutally practical. Step 1, catch the sentence. Like, next time you feel dread or anger, write the sentence that your brain just produced, not the emotion, the meaning. This means I am failing. This means I am trapped. This means that I am not enough. Step 2, identify the value. What is that sentence trying to protect? Safety, belonging, respect, excellence? What does it say that's positive and awesome about you, as David Burns would say? Step 3, read the fine print. Like, if I get to keep this belief the next 5 years, what's it going to cost me? Energy, relationships, sleep, creativity, health. Be specific. Put numbers on it. Hours per week, arguments per month, sleep lost, you name it. Step 4, write the upgraded contract. Same value, cleaner rule. I value excellence. I can improve without self-hatred. I value belonging and I can tolerate disapproval. I value safety and criticism is information, not a threat. Step 5, one behavioral proof. So do one action that contradicts the old rule gently. Send the email without perfecting it for 2 hours. Let someone be mildly disappointed without rescuing. Stop scrolling for 5 minutes and sit in the discomfort. And not to punish yourself, to retrain prediction. That's how beliefs change. Not through slogans, through evidence. In closing, your suffering isn't a character flaw. It's often a payment plan. You've been paying for survival beliefs that did their job. The question now is whether they still deserve the premium. You can keep any belief that you want. So I'm not here to take your weapons away. I'm here to show you the receipt. The moment you see the fine print, you stop being pushed by the back of the neck by a rule that you never agreed to. And that's the beginning of the death of the conflicted self, not the end of ambition, the end of unnecessary war. Chris out.